A Texas pastor feels the community should be alarmed after a, quote, devil-worshipping band is soon scheduled to perform in the community. Pastor Larry Long has recently learned of plans for the band Ghost to perform in Mission, Texas, and he did a little research on the band, and based upon what he has discovered, he has found that there is reason for alarm for this band to come and perform in Texas, and he's wondering if anything can be done to stop the band from performing. He said while he was at a prayer group, he learned that the band would be soon performing at this venue, and he immediately went into research mode to learn more about just what Ghost was about. He goes on in this interview to talk about Tobias Forge and what he refers to as the ghoulish horde that could potentially have a very negative impact on the Christians in the community. He also says he's concerned about the content of the band and posed the question as to whether or not the contract the band signed to perform could be voided in the best interests of the religious community. Now, the show is scheduled to take place tomorrow night, and it's unclear if there will be a protest, but you can imagine that Ghost fans probably wouldn't be too happy about seeing people showing up and picketing their show. Anyhow, here's what Pastor Long had to say. He says, "I was in a prayer group yesterday afternoon, so I didn't learn about it until yesterday morning. I saw a Facebook post from a friend of mine, but it was during the time that we were spending in prayer. A group of us, that is, just really impressed upon me that we need to speak out against this. I don't know that we can stop the band from coming. I don't know how that works, but this is very concerning to me, and I'm not so much concerned about the band as I am about the fact that Wagner Knoll didn't have better sense than to sign this band. What are those people thinking? Are they a part of our community? Do they care about the majority of our community might think about something like that? It's quite remarkable to me that they would even sign a band like that. Sure, I'm concerned about the content of the band. We have a freedom of religion in America, which means a freedom of regulation and anti-Christian faith, if that's what people want to do. And so from that sense, yes, the band bothers me, but I'm not in favor of outlawing the band per se. What I'm in favor is finding out from Wagner Knoll what in the world they're thinking. I don't know what Wagner Knoll can do once they sign that contract, but for heaven's sakes, they need better sense than this. And I think the community should be alarmed about it. This is not healthy for our community because we Christians believe the devil is real. So you have a devil-worshiping band, and I'm sure the band believes the devil is real. I doubt that they're just doing it as a part of their shtick for music and music they produce and so on. And if you were to read some of the lyrics of their songs, they're really quite disturbing. The main band leader goes by the name of Tobias. Whether or not that's his real name, who knows? And then the rest of them go by the ghoulish horde or something like that. Of course, you see this kind of stuff and you say, well, how much of this do they understand? I think that they understand all of it. I think that they are doing this intentionally, and I think they really do worship the devil, because I believe as a Christian, as a biblical Christian, I believe the devil's real. So I imagine maybe some people listening right now say, oh, you guys are getting overblown with this and those kinds of things. Well, you only think that if you didn't think the devil was real. Surely Pastor Long has overlooked key details that the band has done that he either selectively didn't mention or just did very poor research. Like late last month, when Ghost went out of their way to return to a community where a member of the crowd passed away, and they did a show where they donated all the proceeds from the show to his family because he tragically and unexpectedly passed away and the family was going to have to find a way to make a living. Surely he also missed the speech that Tobias gave to the crowd where he said on nights like tonight, you need to have faith. Clearly, he missed out on that part. He clearly also missed out on parts where Tobias has actually said in previous interviews that he's not actually an atheist and that he doesn't actually view the band as Satanism, and that also the band is actually more about visual art and not about pushing an anti-religious message. Clearly, he also missed out on the fact that there are thousands and thousands of Christians who listen to the band Ghost and enjoy the theater of the band in their live performances. These are the sort of things bands deal with when they're on the up and up. Slipknot dealt with it, Ozzy Osbourne dealt with it, and presumably Kiss dealt with it. It is something that's happened for decades and unfortunately will continue to happen. Here you have a pastor that thinks that a particular music group is going to come into his community, corrupt the youth, turn them against religion, and suddenly people are going to start flipping cars and burning things down in the community immediately after the show. But what he hasn't seen, something that we've seen, is that thousands of people, thousands of good, hard-working, honest people attend these shows, they blow off steam, they have an amazing time, entertained by amazing musicians who care deeply about their fans, that just want to give them a good time, a good night, and they come out and they really do care. They bring fans into the show and involve them in the show, like the Sisters of Sin. You can send an email and join in on the fun. They coordinate with fan organizations like Children of Ghost and Ghost American Ministries to make sure their fans are taken care of. It's really just poor research that you can miss all the good things ghosts are doing and completely paint them and their fans with a broad brush, as this pastor has clearly done. Furthermore, what's even more laughable is that this pastor says it's bad for the community that Ghost is coming to perform, and then he singles out a business owner who owns a venue, calls him out when this business owner is actually trying to bring a band that's going to bring hundreds of thousands of dollars into the community. It's going to get this business paid, which is going to pay taxes into the community, which is going to directly translate into better jobs, better infrastructure, sidewalks, schools, you name it. That's literally how business works in a capitalistic society. But what you have here is a pastor from a church that doesn't pay taxes that has clearly forgotten the importance on how a system like that actually positively impacts people. He clearly doesn't seem to realize that this business has to generate an income to stay in business, because unfortunately in their world, they don't have people passing around a hat giving them a free percentage of their income to keep the doors open. So what's probably worse for the community is having somebody discouraging a band that has never harmed anyone from coming into a city, spending money, bringing thousands of people into the town, and from one vocal opponent coming out and potentially squashing all of that. I ask you to consider who really here is the bad guy. Once again, we're seeing history repeat itself, where people want to demonize heavy metal when everybody knows that people in the heavy metal community are much kinder than some people that you might find in certain religious circles. But what people also fail to realize is that heavy metal isn't anti-religious. There are so many musicians in the metal community that are in bands, particularly Slayer, for example, that someone might say is anti-religious, but you have a frontman, aka Tom Araya, who is very religious and is able to separate art from his own personal beliefs. So hopefully the Ghost Show will go off without a hitch tomorrow, and maybe this pastor will pay attention and become educated on what actual art is and how it's different from trying to influence and spin records backwards to brainwash the children, or whatever point he's trying to make. So that's all for now. Hopefully everybody who goes to the Ghost Show tomorrow has a good time and enjoys seeing this band for what they are. We'll keep you posted. Thanks for joining Rockfeed. If you're new here, you can subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking hard rock and heavy metal news. Thanks as always for joining us. We love you so much. Thanks for the support, and we'll see you all very soon.